everybody. Happy Monday. Did you hear that dingling? One of my rings fell off, but that's okay. We'll get it later. I'm Ashley Nicole Moss. This is Brandon Marshall.
Was it a diamond?
No, it wasn't a diamond.
Oh, okay.
That I would have jumped for. I'm Ashley Nicole Moss. This is Brandon Marshall. Brandon, you've been wearing purple a lot lately. What's up with that? Well, is that your new color?
It's not wearing a lot of purple. It's wearing the same purple sweater.
I wasn't trying to put you on blast, but sure, go ahead.
This is like the 5th time I wore this hoodie in the last 2 weeks. Just landed in Fort Lauderdale International Airport from Las Vegas. I was there for the fight, Canelo, and also the Charlo fight. Amazing atmosphere, okay fight. And this was my travel attire. But anyways, the fight was awesome. The atmosphere was great, and I'm looking forward to the next big one.
Well, we have a big one, meaning a big show today. A lot went down yesterday during NFL Sunday.
Woo.
Also, we have some NBA news, and Media Day starts today for about half of the teams. Tomorrow is the rest of the team, so we'll have a lot of sound bites. We'll have a lot to digest, some looks. We'll do an NBA show tomorrow.
Ben Simmons looked good.
They didn't start yet.
The picture, it was a workout video.
Oh, okay.
It was a workout. It was a workout.
Got it. We'll go ahead and dive into all of that. We'll probably do that tomorrow. We'll have a little bit of an NBA show since, we'll have Monday Night Football, and then we won't have football again until Thursday. But listen, we're going to go ahead and I think there's a ringing sound on the audio. I don't know if the chat's saying that they're hearing a ringing. So while you guys go ahead and check the audio, we should dive into what happened yesterday for Sunday Night Football. Now, there was a great slate of games on. My Cowboys got a win. We'll dive into that later. But the Jets were close.
Yeah, we were
just
close.
not close enough.
I know.
So, listen, in what was expected to be a blowout game, Sunday Night Football's matchup of the Chiefs and Jets turned out to be close and controversial. So Taylor Swift wasn't the only talking point in last night's game. After 2 costly turnovers by Patrick Mahomes, the Jets tied the game and then later only trailed by a field goal. Now, it looked like there was a possibility that we were going to have an upset on our hands, but a Jets interception was called back after defensive holding ended up being called, and then a no call on holding on Jermaine Johnson ultimately sealed the fate of the New York Jets. Now, head coach Robert Saleh was more than frustrated by the refs' decision-making in these crucial turning points of the game and let it be known both in the game and post-game as well. So we have a soundbite from that. He said, quote, "I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm going to stay quiet." Check this out.
There was several times where Jermaine Johnson looked like he was very much being held by the offense, despite there not being any penalty. Do you have any thought on that, or did you see anything?
I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I'm going to stay quiet.
Well, listen, Sauce Gardner also had some thoughts, and he says, "I don't even know what to say." Check this out.
And how frustrating was that? The receiver ran into me. It was a collision. The same thing that was happening all game. They ain't throw no flags. Pat threw the ball outside of the receiver. MC was there. He made the play. Then the ref threw the flag. Like, me personally, that's like when you play basketball and one-on-one and you go up to lay the ball up and you wait to see you miss and then say foul. Like, I can't believe that. Like, that was just crazy because, like, I don't even think they threw the ball my way at me first 3 quarters. Then they started throwing checkdowns, and then a shot that they try to take that's not going, then they finally get bailed out by that. 4th quarter, crunch time, like, that's, I don't even know what to say.
All right, so we've now heard from Saleh, we've heard from Gardner, so let's see the plays that we are referring to that caused such a controversy. So here is the first play. Go ahead and roll this.
Has time here, gets with coverage downfield. Mahomes with forever's now.
So that was the no holding call on Jermaine Johnson. You want to see that again?
No, I saw it.
Okay, so that was the no holding call on Jermaine Johnson. Now this is the other play where the Jets interception was called back because it ended up being called a defensive holding on the Jets instead. Take a look at this.
Foul number 1 for the defensive holding.
Hey, may I say, Jermaine Johnson.
Woof.
All right, Brandon. So we saw the plays. We saw the sound bites. Now, Zach Wilson had a great game. I mean, 28 for 39, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a few clutch moments, and he was visibly upset after the controversial outcome, and he had to be consoled by his teammates. He was actually seen mouthing the words, "I lost the game, this is on me." But we have the clip of him on the sideline with his teammates. Check this out.
Would have made the field goal opportunity come instead. And you saw, as I mentioned, Salah's usually mild-mannered for the most part on the sideline, and a lot of that.
Now, listen, like I said, Wilson did end up taking the fault for the game for a late fumble. I don't think the fumble was what the catalyst was for the outcome of this game, but he said, quote, "I cannot do that. I lost us this game, and I cannot do that." Here's his post-game thoughts.
We saw the cameras after the game show you look upset, and Thomas was with you, Randall, and Lazard. Can you just talk to us a little bit about those conversations, what were they saying to you, what you guys talking about?
Yeah, that's on me. Critical situation, I can't have a play like that. I cannot drop the ball, and this team is sacrificing a lot. Guys were making plays, defense was making plays, O-line was protecting, the receivers were making plays, and to be driving right there and to drop a snap, I cannot do that. I lost us that game, and I cannot do that. And I was making it clear to those guys that I need to be better. I need to be better on the little things, the details. It can't happen.
All right, so we've heard from Saleh, we have heard from Zach Wilson, we've heard from Sauce Gardner, we have seen the plays. Brandon, a lot to dissect here. I mean, obviously, you feel for Zach Wilson. It's been a very tumultuous season for him so far. Aaron Rodgers goes down. He was supposed to have time to develop behind him. That ended up not being the reality. He's once again pushed into the starting position that he's not really ready for. I think that's the general consensus. Although he had a good game this time around, I think overall it's safe to say he's not yet a franchise starting quarterback. He still needs time to develop. He had a great showing. This was, if we're going to be honest, this should have been a game the Jets won. I mean, the Chiefs did not have a good showing. Patrick Mahomes, 2 costly interceptions, a lot of controversial calls. You could understand why Jets fans and the guys that we played their sound bites from are upset. This was a very controversial outcome.
I don't think so.
You don't think those 2 calls were
Listen, we always used to say it's interesting, and there's on every single play in the NFL, you can throw a flag for holding or some type of illegal contact, every single play. And what we say, don't leave it in the hands of the referee. And that's what we did. And I don't think anybody was coming in thinking that the Jets had a real shot. Like, it was a really good game. And I think the Jets should feel really good about it. Obviously, no moral victories. Defense showed up. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. Offensively, Zach Wilson played really good ball. So when you say he's not ready to be a franchise quarterback, then I would agree with you. But what we saw last night was offensively them finally saying, you know what, go out there, throw it around. Let's see what happens, right? Before it was run on first down, run on second down. Now you're playing on 3rd and 6 and 7, so medium to long. That's hard treading for any quarterback, any offense to be sitting there saying, we're going to run on first, run on second, then try to throw the ball. They didn't do that. They opened it up. They threw it around. He looked really well. There was probably 2 or 3 plays where you're like, damn, why did you make that decision? But I thought he played extremely well, and it came down to, I don't think it just came down to those 2 plays. It came down to situational football.
I disagree a little bit because I do think that I agree with you in part when you say don't let the referees determine the outcome of a game. I think that applies if there's like I'm a firm believer, 1 call in a course of 4 quarters, depending on where the call is. Sometimes if it's at the end of the game, you're looking at it a little bit crazy, but I agree with you. If you don't put yourself in the position for that to really make a difference, yes, it's a controversial call, but it doesn't determine the outcome. But we're not just talking about 1 missed controversial call. We're talking about several throughout the course of the game
but the one with
that
Sauce
all
Gardner,
worked in the favor of the Chiefs.
Yeah, but the one with Sauce Gardner, right? Like, I'm a wide receiver. I want that call. So, yes, I'm a Jet. I love Sauce. But at the end of the day, you got to understand there's referees. There's someone looking at the angle. So there was a referee on the backside of that play, on that penalty, that's on the sideline. He's the one that's watching that wide receiver, the outside receiver, and so he has a clean shot at that. And all he sees is this. That's what he sees. What is that? That's holding a wide receiver. That's keeping a wide receiver from getting in and out of his breaks or in and out of his route. It need to be called. If I'm a wide receiver, I'm pissed off there. Now, if I'm on the other side, I can see it. I'm like, damn, right now, like it's what Sauce did. He talked about in basketball. It's like, man, it's crunch time. Let the players play. But at the end of the day, I want to play, but I want to make sure I can get in and out of my routes. I want to make sure I can get in and out of my breaks. So, it definitely was a call that they could have, where he could have kept his flag in his pocket, but he held him.
Okay, what about the no holding call on Jermaine Johnson? That was blatantly, he was holding him almost by his helmet.
Well, listen, let's be clear here. What I'm saying is there could be a call on every single play. But being in the locker room, when I come in the locker room after that game, what I'm looking at is I'm not looking at that because the refs control that. So any of those calls, whether it's Sauce Gardner or on Jermaine, I'm like, all right, fuck. That's a bad call, but at the same time, I'm looking at, well, what happened on this missed field goal? Why didn't we execute there? We could have controlled that. Well, what happened on this play? How did we give up 3rd and 15, 3rd and 22? We could have controlled that. So I'm looking at those plays that we can control because every single game, in every moment, we can say, you know what, the refs could have called this or the refs shouldn't have called that. So I'm just not leaving it up to the refs.
No, I hear that. I just feel like how many times have we seen in a game, right? The refs will miss a call that was controversial, that should have been called one way, but it ended up being called another way. What normally happens? They usually make it up, and I know that they won't own up to this, but they make it up later in the game. Yeah. We did not see that happen. We saw 2 calls that screwed the Jets out of 2 different opportunities that both went in favor of the Chiefs. Now, I can hear what you're saying with the one on Sauce Gardner. Maybe that one was a little bit more, fluid in how it could have been called. But the no holding call on Jermaine Johnson, that was blatant. Like, that was a blatant
Let's run it again.
hold.
Let's run it again. So here's the thing with, before we roll it, here's the thing with holding, though, right? So, like, and we'll see it again. And I'm not sure because I only saw one angle. There's multiple angles that you can look at. And that's what we don't know what was impeding that referee's vision, the one supposed to call that. But when the offensive linemen hold on every single play. And the really good ones that get away with it, they're holding inside. So they hold inside like this. When you get called is when the guy tries to run and you don't let him go and now you pull on his jersey or now you throw him down to the turf. That's when you get called. So in this one, he actually is playing decent technique. He has him in there. 100% it could have been a call. But we're talking about now we're inside. Every other offensive lineman does it, and it's crunch time. So that's what we're asking the refs to do. Say, okay, it's crunch time. Let the guys play. Was it that bad to where he should have called it? Because if it was on the other side, everybody would have been
Brandon.
Like, why are you calling that? Why are you calling that?
I don't know. It was. Can we roll the foot? Look at this. Is pretty egregious. He's holding him. He's hitting him basically get off of me. He's holding him.
Run it again.
I feel like this is a blatant hold. Look at him.
You see the jersey. You can see the jersey. You see the jersey.
How is that? How do you not call that?
You're right. He missed it. You saw the jersey. That's what I was talking about. You saw the jersey stretched at this or at initial contact, and then he was still tight. That's why I say that, Ashley. I am not going in the locker room saying, oh my goodness, the referees. No, I'm looking at defensively. How the hell did we let Patrick Mahomes go and pick up the first down? 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16. He did it twice. How did we do that? Field goal. How did we miss the field goal? So there's a lot of opportunities there. I remember playing for the Miami Dolphins, and we were playing in Miami.
Before you tell the story, I'm glad that you kind of switched your stance on this, because I know if that were you, you would have been swinging your helmet. You would have been like in the ref's face, like how you don't see him, like how are you not calling a hold? Like if that were you and you were only 3 points down from the Kansas City Chiefs at home in MetLife, and you had the opportunity to either tie the game or win the game, and you don't get that call, I know for a fact you are livid.
Ashley, I'm telling you how I operate. You're just not listening
to me.
No,
I know you're like, I don't put us in the position for the right. No, I don't care about none of that. You are pissed in that moment. He's holding you by your jersey. You're smacking him in the helmet to try to create some separation. So let me say it this way. And you still don't get the call. I know you're livid.
So let me say it this way. I've been in so many games and so many situations like this that if you are going in games, letting the referees determine the outcome, it's not going to be a fun game. You're going to be miserable. Every single play, they can call a hold. That's what I'm trying to say. Every single play. So even in those games, I've been in situations, and that's what the story I was going to tell, where our coach knew if we didn't win this game, he's going to get fired. There's so much on the line. But at the end of the day, as a player, you still have to find a way to get off of Sauce Gardner. You still have to find a way to come down with the ball, track the ball, come down with the ball. It doesn't matter. Even if they have one hand on you, I'm not leaving it up to the refs. So could they have called it? Yes. And if that was me as a wide receiver, and that was a gotta-have-it moment, and we needed that, yes, I'm standing up and I'm looking at the ref like this, like I do on every other play. You don't see he's holding me? You don't see this? What's going on? So, of course, I'm going to be ticked, but I'm not going in the locker room blaming the refs. Not after that game. What I'm going in the locker room doing is looking at, there's probably about 8 or 9 plays where you're like, damn, if we'd have came down with these, we'd have been in a better situation. So even when Zach Wilson comes in and he says, you know, that's on me, I love that type of accountability, because the reality is when everybody in the locker room is going to say to Zach, no, that's on us. I had to play too. Mm-hmm. But the reality is there's 5 to 6, maybe 7 to 8 plays a game that decides the outcome of a play. That was a play that Zach Wilson looked like an immature quarterback. You can't do that. You got to be locked in. He's looking at everything else. Oh, the clock, is the formation right? What's going on with the defense? Okay, where we got pre-snap, post-snap? He got way too much going on, and you can't overlook the fundamentals. And that was a crucial play. But at the end of the day, there's still about 5 to 6 where they probably want to
What's the story you were going to tell? Because I can just hear you like in that situation. Throw the damn flag! Throw the damn flag!
Well, I told it that was the Miami Dolphin one. But I'm telling you how I operate. That was the situation. You know, I mean, we're talking about trying to get into playoffs. We win, we're in, and land on the turf and being like, freak, that could have been a call. I'm not leaving it up to the refs. It could have easily been called, but at the end of the day, like, my mindset is not, you know, shit, let me go ahead and whine to the referees because that's going to determine the outcome. But
all right, well, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I know Jets fans are like, we can just add this to another level of what it's like to be a Jets fan. I feel for them, I really do. When they were panning to the crowd in MetLife Stadium, those were some of the saddest fans I've ever seen in my life. Like, Jets fans have been going through it for 12, 13 years, almost half my life. So I send them positivity. We're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk some basketball, because Drew Holiday gets the last laugh. You got to love this story, all right? So Drew Holiday wanted to be a Milwaukee Buck for life. He made that very clear in a newspaper article that came out 24 hours before he was traded to Portland in a deal that sent Damian Lillard to the Bucks. Well, Drew Holiday got the last laugh on Saturday when he was traded to the Boston Celtics as part of a trade that sent Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, the 2024 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick, all to the Blazers. So Drew Holiday is now part of the Boston Celtics, making them just giving them another layer of a championship team that they already had. This is going to be an incredible NBA season, especially in the East. You now have the Bucks with Damian Lillard. You now have Drew Holiday, who's a phenomenal defender, bringing some of that talent to the Boston Celtics. They also acquired Kristaps Porzingis, which the jury's going to be out on what he's able to do. Just because I feel like—
Can he give you 40 games?
Here's the thing with Kristaps Porzingis, but on both sides of these trades, if you look at the Bucks rather, defensively is the biggest concern. Offensively, they're going to shoot the lights out. But defensively, you get rid of Drew Holiday, who's a great defender. Yep. Now you lose some of that edge. So it's going to be interesting how they combat that. On the other side of that, offensively, the Boston Celtics are going to be great. They have a defensive weapon now in Drew Holiday. My only concern is now Kristaps Porzingis has to play the 5. Right. And as a Knicks fan, I can tell you it's not a good idea.
Well, explain. What do you mean?
Well, what's going to happen is Kristaps Porzingis' game he's not a down low player. Meaning, if you want him down there, down low as we call it, with like the big boys, Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, he's going to get beat up. Like he's going to be food down there. That's not his game. If you look at his build, he's not that type of a player. And in Washington, that's not how they utilized him. So it's going to be an issue when he's put in those situations. I personally believe that even though he didn't stay healthy, Robert Williams was a nice scrappy big man because he could take a lot of that, you know, rough and tough down there. Porzingis is not that guy, and if you're trying to make him that guy, you're going to get a quarter of the season from him. So I know they say, oh, we have Al Horford. Al Horford's like, no shade, 60 years old.
Right.
So you need a young, scrappy big man to kind of be that buffer, because when you play certain matchups, when you start going against the Embiids and the Giannis's and the Bam Adebayos, Porzingis is going to be food down there. So it's going to be interesting what Boston does in the interim to kind of bridge those two together. But this is phenomenal for Jrue Holiday. He went to from the Blazers in 24 hours after saying he wanted to be a Buck for life to the Boston Celtics, who are just fresh off of an Eastern Conference.
I hear you. I'm going to say something wild right now, but I think the Blazers are going to be decent next year. I like the moves that they made. So even with him on the if he would have stayed on the Blazers, that would have been a good look. But the Celtics obviously is the better landing spot for him. You know, is this the piece that they need that's going to get them over the hump? Actually, I don't know. I don't subscribe to, you know, that they need a big to get it done. Like
no. I don't think they need a big. I think they need I think they need a big simply for
those matchups.
Yeah, because Al Horford's old.
But don't you think? But don't you think what they?
Porzingis is not that type of a guy. You need a Robert Williams type of player.
Yeah, I just look at like how they're built, like their strengths, and they can absolutely get it done. It's really going to come down to that light-skinned brother right there, Tatum. Like whether you add Jrue Holiday or not, like are you going to get it done when it matters in the post? And I think that they will. Like he's just he's just one game away from just like really morphing into like superstar status. I know that's a debate. I don't have him in as a superstar. You know, I need to see just a little bit more. I want to see it in the biggest moment. But he has the mindset. Some dudes, the moment is just too big for him. It's just a matter of time. It took how long did it take Jordan to get over the hump? How long did it even take Braun? Braun had to go to Miami. So this is going to be an interesting basketball season, and it's already here. That's crazy.
Yeah, media day starts for half the teams today. But what I'm thinking of, I think it'd be a perfect fit in Boston is, I think Porzingis has his strong suit. He's not going to be able to do what you need him to do at center for the entire season, especially, like I said, when you start coming into certain matchups. Al Horford, like I said, is on the older side.
Yeah,
I think a player that would be perfect would be a player like a Dwight Howard or DeMarcus Cousins, somebody who
are they going to get an
bigger,
opportunity
someone
again?
who's rougher and tougher. That's the type of player that you need down there when you go against a Joel Embiid and a Giannis. But that's the type of player that would be perfect in that situation.
I hear a lot of buzz and a lot of talk around those guys. There's around like 5 or 6 veterans that's just been sitting on the sideline, and a lot of people, including themselves, are saying they deserve a chance. So you brought up Boogie and you brought up Dwight. Do you think that this is the year they'll get back and
I would hope so. I mean, there's no reason for me that Dwight Howard is not in the league. Same thing with DeMarcus Cousins outside of politics. I think that they still are, you know, assets to whatever locker room, whatever team that if they're in the right situation, I think they're still assets. Obviously, you're not going to get prime Dwight Howard or prime DeMarcus Cousins. They're older guys now, but I think from a defensive angle, when you're talking about guys who can hang with those big boys down low, DeMarcus Cousins and Dwight Howard are perfect for that situation. So
wasn't there rumors that Dwight was going to go to the Warriors?
He was in talks with the Warriors. I think he had a workout. It ended up not happening. The workout happened, but they ended up not signing him. He wasn't going to join the roster. He did have a workout and meetings with them, but nothing, you know, came from it.
I like Dwight in the league. I mean, like you said, he's not a superstar, but definitely should be in the league and can contribute. He did that with the Lakers. So
we shall see. But listen, the Celtics and the Bucks will face off for the first game of the NBA season on November 22nd. So mark your calendars.
Don't watch.
That is going to be a must-see TV. In the concept, or in the topic rather, of basketball, the WNBA Finals, the stage is lit and the stage is set and it's lit, and I am so excited because my Liberty are in the building for the first time since 2002. It's been a long time.
Two super teams.
Two super teams. They will face off against the reigning champs, the Las Vegas Aces. Now, this is a interesting matchup. So listen, the Liberty defeated the Connecticut Sun in the semifinals on Sunday, advancing, like I said, to their first WNBA finals since 2002. So I was like this big the last time. I was in the 3rd grade or the 4th grade.
They really have a chance.
Yes, this team.
Does their Liberty really have a chance? Come on, let's be honest.
This team is good. Now they will face the reigning champs, Las Vegas Aces, like I said, who have been waiting to learn their opponent since they swept Dallas on September 29th. Now, this isn't going to be just any type of finals because there's underlining storylines here. So A'ja Wilson of the Aces was named the Defensive Player of the Year for the 2nd year in a row. So she's the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And Breanna Stewart was named the 2023 WNBA MVP, the first player in Liberty history to win the award. But the underlining storyline here is a lot of people think that A'ja Wilson should have won this award, and she did not. They feel like politics came into play. So there's a lot of underlining storylines here, a lot of, underlining beefs, maybe not on the court, but in the media. People are rooting for certain teams, and this is going to be a great, great final. So listen, if you have not been watching any WNBA games this season, this is a perfect series to get you into the groove of the WNBA and what kind of ball that they're playing. Two of the very best teams will be battling it out. I'm very excited about this. Brandon, how do you feel?
I don't think it's going to be close.
Okay.
The Aces is too tough. When you look at how they played all year compared to everyone else, it was the Aces here, and the rest of the field was just like mid-level. It's not even close. Look at what they did against Dallas. Dallas, she felt the same way. Was it that wasn't something Mamba, Gold Mamba? That wasn't Gold Mamba. What was her nickname that we had on from Dallas? I forget her nickname, but she came on. She felt the same way as far as the second half of the season, being able to compete at a high level with the best teams. And I mentioned the Aces, and then they got swept. So I don't think it's even close.
Liberty are not the Aces, so but
you mean Liberty isn't Dallas?
The Liberty is not Dallas. So
yeah. Well, I mean if you look at the regular season, Aces. But they had like 3-4 losses going into the home stretch, 4 or 5 losses, and then everybody else was just like battling it out. So, we'll see what happens. It'll be fun.
Well,
there's a lot of storylines there.
I know the regular season doesn't count when you get to the postseason, but I mean, when I say we, I mean the Liberty did beat the Aces 3 times this year. So
ain't even close.
So, but we beat them 3 times.
Who went down?
Nobody.
Who was in that game? Yes.
Everybody.
Yes. No.
Oh, come on, Brandon. We're not playing that game.
Yes, we are playing that game.
We're not playing that game.
You got to look at it.
We're not playing that game.
Who was available? Availability is everything.
Okay. I'm not playing that game. Listen, make sure you guys tune into the WNBA Finals. I believe the first game goes down on Sunday or Saturday, one of those days. Someone can go ahead and fact check that for me, but I think it's Sunday. Andrew, Sunday or Saturday, WNBA Finals, Game 1? We're getting the Sunday. I was right the first time. All right, so it goes down on Sunday. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great, great, great series. All right, so we're going to go back to the NFL now. And it was all good just a week ago. The Miami Dolphins left NFL fans stunned when they defeated the Denver Broncos by 50 points and almost broke the record for the most points in an NFL game since 1966. Well, the Fins faced off against division rivals, the Buffalo Bills, yesterday in Buffalo, and the same amount of points that they held the Broncos to last week, they were held to this week. They ended up losing that game 48-20. Now Josh Allen went 14 for 17, 201 passing yards, 3 passing TDs, and 155.5 passer rating. So Josh Allen may be officially back. Is it safe to say that? The Bills are back. Him and Stephon Diggs seem to be on a perfect, simpatico, as they like to say. They look good.
Simpatico.
The Bills looked good. Whatever they did week 1 is in the back burner. They look like they are ready to go.
Yeah. After that game against the Jets, opening night, Aaron Rodgers goes down when he played 4 plays, 1 attempt, something like that. Josh Allen had a moment to really bury this team. Like there was nothing more deflating in football than Aaron Rodgers going down that quickly opening night. Ashley, you were in the building.
Yes.
And what we saw on the sideline from Josh Allen was something that, you would expect from, Wilson, Zach Wilson, right? Like young quarterback, a lot of pressure, trying to overcome it, deer in the headlights. And then after that, he's been sensational. The Buffalo Bills have shocked me. I thought going into this year, and I've been saying it all offseason, they lose Leslie Frazier, which is a big deal. He came in and stabilized that defense. They brought in Von Miller. Obviously, Von Miller's been on, PUP, on the PUP list, but they brought in Von Miller to get pressure on the quarterback, stop the run, not through him, but other guys and other additions up front. They've been able to turn the ball over. So you lose that guy. What are you going to get on the defensive side? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs beef. But, man, like, you got to throw – after these first couple weeks, you got to throw Josh Allen's name in the early MVP candidacy right there. Like, he's playing at a high level. He's clutch. They seem to be having fun. And so, yeah, this is a big deal. And to do this against the Miami Dolphins coming off that type of game, are you kidding me?
Well, I was going to ask, listen, division rivals, everyone has said, I think the unanimous decision, it's either the Dolphins or the Bills who are going to come out on top of this division. This matchup may be, the foreshadowing for what's to come later in the season and what ultimately the playoff picture will end up looking like. Who do you think right now? Yeah. The Dolphins were playing fantastic football for weeks, and the Bills just absolutely demolished them. They just look like a JV team out there.
Right.
This says a lot about Buffalo.
Yeah, there's a lot to this. I didn't think it was going to be a battle for the division, to be honest with you, especially after, the offseason the Bills had and then opening up the season the way they did, and then the Miami Dolphins just destroying the first 3 games. I thought the Miami Dolphins were the best team in the NFL, and they still may be. This is only 1 week. What they did on the Bills side is they got to Tua. They made him extremely uncomfortable. Tua has been sitting in a pocket, super efficient, just playing around. It's like he's playing Madden. And so for the Bills to come in and put that type of pressure on him and make him look like the rookie Tua, that was impressive. And I don't think that what people need to understand is when you play in a division, every game is hard. So you can get blown out the first part of this series, and then the second part you come in, you might blow them out. These teams, you make the adjustments. So I don't expect this game to define the outcome of the division. We could easily see the Miami Dolphins put up a 50-piece on the Buffalo Bills second time around. But it is going to be interesting because Von Miller will be back. So they put all that pressure on Tua without Von Miller. And I think this week Von Miller may be out there practicing and coming off the PUP list. So the Buffalo Bills get stronger, and they're looking good.
Well, listen, it's going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins bounce back and how the Bills continue this trajectory. Yep. Which one do you feel like is more likely? Both.
The Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen showed me that, I don't know why the hell I was questioning Josh Allen. I'm looking at him like, what is going on, bro? You should have, this whole offseason, I didn't like their approach. The Buffalo Bills are the real deal. And hell, 95% of everyone out there, outside of myself, obviously, knows that, right? They've been contenders for the last couple years, and everybody wants to see them get over the hump. So I think they're going to continue to have a phenomenal year, barring any big setbacks, any injuries, major injuries. And then also the Miami Dolphins. Yes, this was disappointing, but they can clean that up. Offensive line, you had Big TA go down, so hopefully he bounced back. I don't know what the situation is there, but you can fix that. You can clean that up. You can't let Tua get that much pressure on him. So I think the Miami Dolphins will get back on track. They're sensational. It's hard to stop them.
Definitely. This is going to be, and again, the Miami Dolphins are well coached. They have a great team, and we have to remember, I think it's been forgotten in how well the Dolphins have been doing. Jalen Ramsey's not in the picture.
Yeah.
That changes things a lot for them defensively as a team. So when the offense is not clicking on every cylinder, I think they feel it a little bit more, his absence. When he returns, it's supposed to be end of November, I believe.
Yeah. I don't think they need Jalen.
Really?
No, I don't think they need Jalen.
I think
they
Jalen
didn't
would make a huge difference on defense for them.
Possibly, but they don't need it to get it done. They're the star of their defense is the defense. With Coach Vic Fangio brings to the table, just out of this world obviously he has playmaking ability. You know, so him coming in and being able to force fumbles, intercept the ball, even he brings the energy. So yes, it helps, but there's no excuse for the Miami Dolphins. They have a sensational offensive plan. They have playmakers all over the ball. I mean, all over the offensive side and defensively, they got probably the best safety. Their front seven is their studs. Like, they can get it done. So when Jalen Ramsey comes back, end of November, December, that will definitely help. And the Dolphins should be exactly where they want to be. This football season is going to be interesting down the stretch. I'll say that. Like, and I don't know what the hell is going to happen. It's going to be so many twists and turns, you know, so many storylines. It's going to be fun.
It's definitely going to be fun. But you know what's not fun?
What?
Well, at least in the eyes of the NFL, gambling. It's not fun.
Why they keep changing stuff up?
Listen, the NFL is playing 0 games with gambling because the NFL and NFLPA are modifying their gambling policies. Now, there will be an increased discipline for gambling on NFL games. Now, a violation is 1 year, and 2 if a player bets on his own team. So let me go ahead and run through the different penalties for gambling. Now, if you bet on NFL games not involving your team, it's a minimum 1 year suspension. If it involves your team, it's a minimum 2 years suspension. Now, betting on non-NFL games in team facility, 2 games for the first violation, 6 games for the second, and at least 1 year for the third. Attempting to fix games, which is a big no-no, you are banished from the NFL. Inside information and or tipping is a minimum of 1 year. Third party or proxy betting is a minimum also of 1 year. So we got some rules, we got some penalties, we got some suspensions. Brandon, yay, nay, do we like it?
The only one that I would change is inside information. I feel like that should be banished as well from the NFL. The other one was if you are attempting to fix games. I mean, that's the same thing, right? Well, not really. But if I'm going out to someone and I'm giving them insider information, that's a big deal. You know what you're doing. I like this. I feel like the NFL and the NFLPA had to do this because what we've seen over the last year and a half, 2 years is like this player suspended, that player suspended, and we're all like, what the hell is going on and what are the rules, right? So to be able to come out and define this for everyone, not only the players and everybody internally in the NFL, but also the fans. Like, we wanted to know. Like, the Detroit Lions, they had like 6 people suspended. But why? Explain this to us. So I like this. I like how they're stern on, you know, don't bet on NFL games. Don't bet on your own game. So the 1 to 2 year suspension there, I think that's hard and stern, and it's what's needed. Come on, you be smart, man. Like, the toughest one is if you're in the facility or even on a team bus or in a team hotel and you're betting on other sports and other games. Like, be smart, don't do it, don't jeopardize your career. But I like this because they're defining it for all of us watching.
Which is crazy because, like, okay, obviously I'm not condoning betting because it's a rule, but if you were going to gamble, to do it on the team Wi-Fi is insane.
That's insane. It's insane.
At least do it from the crib. Don't use the facility's Wi-Fi to place your bets. Come on. Like, let's
I mean, I guess this is a big deal. You have so much downtime when you're in between, not a lot of downtime, but players in between meetings and working out or practice or lunch, they're just sitting in the damn locker room, in their locker room doing nothing. Their locker doing nothing. And I guess they just want to pull out their phone and put a couple parlays in. Or
put something down at halftime, like, oh, I know he ain't coming back. Let me go ahead and
this is a big deal. You know how many people bet? Like, this is huge. I know you're not into gambling like that, and I'm learning. Well, I can't even say learning. Like, the last couple years, I've been diving into it because we had forced to do it.
Right.
Like, we changed everything up on inside the NFL. We went from picking games to picking against the spread. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know any of this. So I had to learn on the fly. And last year, I actually enjoyed it. It made the game better. Like,
I feel
to
like
watch.
it would make it stressful.
No, like, if I'm telling you, gotta try it, Ash. Like, just putting $25-50 on something like this. This is what you would like. What is it called? First score. Like who's
Oh,
first
like
to
who
score?
scored
Yeah,
first.
like
Yeah,
I'm gonna put $25 on Jalen Hurts to score against my Dallas Cowboys first, right? And then I'm gonna put another 50 on the anytime score. So CD Lamb, he can score anytime. So that $50 can turn into $150 or something. You would enjoy that.
Yeah, like prop bets.
Prop bets, all of that. Yesterday, so like I said, I just landed earlier in the show. I
They
just
do
said that I
Super
landed
Bowl, like, how
from
long is the
Vegas.
national anthem?
And so yesterday I was in Mirage Sportsbook watching all the games. I wasn't gambling or anything, but I was just watching. And when I tell you, it was so intense. Like there were so many, like there's so much yelling and cheering going on throughout the games because people got their own bets going on. That was the first time I was able to witness this live in person. I was like, damn, man, this sports betting thing is taking over the world. And they're saying it's going to double within like 5 to 6 years, which is insane. Insane. Protect your money.
Listen, do we have any Oakland A fans in the chat?
No baseball fans are in the chat.
No
Nobody
baseball.
watches baseball. Nobody
You can
watches
still be
the
an Oakland A
Why are you
fan.
making that face? You watch baseball? Nobody. Who in here watches
People
baseball?
watch baseball, Brandon.
You
It's-
watch the
it's
Yankees in
second
the
most-
playoffs. That's it.
And they're not there, so there's that. It's the second most popular sport.
Says second. What?
Yes.
Football, basketball, and now Messi's here, so we ain't even call
I'm
it soccer.
telling
We're
you,
gonna call it
baseball is
Messi.
the second most popular sport. You can Google it if you don't believe
Yeah,
me.
right. Come
Okay.
on, please. You're saying if I Google it, where it's from, like
It's
a viewership?
football, baseball.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Football, basketball, Messi, and then lacrosse, volleyball, then baseball. I
Okay.
can't. People watch the games. I can understand going to the ballpark, getting a little
You don't
brought
think people
to the
watch
beer.
the postseason? You don't think people watch
Postseason, yes.
You don't think people watch the
Postseason,
World Series?
100%. 100%. It's extremely fun. That's when you go watch baseball for real. Yes.
Okay.
But the regular season,
People
80
watch
games.
people watch
Who are these people?
people. Well, listen, the Oakland A's are on the move, maybe, because a formal vote on the Oakland A's proposed relocation to Las Vegas is now targeted for November. Now, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred intends to bring the measure before the owners during the owners' meetings on November 14th through the 16th in Texas. Approval requires 23 out of the 30 clubs. So they may be on the move to join the Raiders, who also left Oakland and are now in Vegas with this new beautiful ballpark on
That's
the
beautiful.
Las Vegas Strip. Brandon, I mean, this is sad if you're from Oakland because you're losing all your sports teams to Las Vegas. If you are a Las Vegas, enthusiast,
Yeah.
you love this because baseball, football, just need some basketball, men's basketball. You obviously have the Aces there already. I mean,
Oakland still is on the map? I thought that they say.
we're not gonna diss
what they
Oakland.
Say, no, they said what's going to happen in about 100 years. Cali's going to. I thought Oakland already was just like
my
Oakland still
God.
exists. I was sitting there in Vegas this weekend speaking to Devin Haney and his pops, and they have a big fight coming up in December 3rd. And it's in San Fran. I asked them, and I forgot that they were from Oakland. I said, why are y'all fighting in San Fran? He's like, because we're from Oakland. I was like, oh. Who wants to be in Oakland? There's nothing there. I hate it. We played against them twice a year when I played for the Denver Broncos. Hate it flying out there. But I don't watch baseball, but I do watch business. Ashley, this makes a lot of sense. And within about 5 to 6 years, Vegas will be headquarters for sports. It makes a lot of sense. You're going to see all the professional teams there, and to me, all the owners are going to vote yes on this. All of them. Maybe there might be one that says no, but this makes sense for baseball. This makes sense for the owners of the athletics. This makes sense for Las Vegas.
I mean, I think it's sad though. Oakland's losing their sports culture. They lost the Raiders that, they have been there forever. Now
They got
the A's.
E40. E40
They lost.
still gonna be
They
there.
lost the Warriors.
They got E40.
I mean,
Have you been to Oakland?
I've never been to Oakland.
Okay.
I think it's always.
Sorry,
I felt the same
sorry,
way when,
Marshall.
I felt the same way. It's sad when a city loses its sports team. Like it was sad when the Rams left St. Louis.
What do you want them to sit there in that
No,
old
I'm not saying
stadium
that they stay there
with
forever.
5 people watching?
I'm not saying that they stay there forever, but I'm saying it's sad when a team leaves a city. Like when St. Louis lost the Rams and they went back to Los Angeles. That's sad.
Make your city better. Make your city better. Put some infrastructure in your city. Put a train or two to take you from the city to the suburb. They're not doing anything. They're not getting better. You see all these other metropolitan cities around the world, country investing. Well, we got to understand that not every city has money too. Some cities, because everybody operate off their own budget. They got to be better. But if I'm a baseball player, I do not want to go to Oakland and play. It's terrible.
Well, listen. Time will tell if the A's are headed to the Vegas Strip.
It's going to be fun.
Somebody said, oh, these are fighting words. Someone said, B, you are from Schittsburg. Don't disrespect Oakland or the Bay. Damn!
But this is what I was saying. Listen, we are an industrial city where I come from, blue collar, 100%. You know, you're not going to see a lot of innovation, but from a sports standpoint, phenomenal. And we have infrastructure to maintain our great sports culture. We have that. We don't need, he called me out on that. He said Schittsburg. That's crazy.
You almost put out your water.
Yeah. But no, Pittsburgh's a great city and a great sports city, I should say.
Oh, okay.
It is a great city from like, if you like the blue collar approach, but our baseball team is trash too. Our owners would not invest in the Pirates. We're just terrible every year.
Well, at least you're not, at least you don't have one of the highest payrolls, if not the highest payroll in baseball, and you're not in the playoffs.
Yankees, they got to turn it around.
You know what I'm saying? A whole lot of cash, nothing to show for it. So what side of the spectrum would you like to be on?
Go get Shohei.
I'm a pissed off Yankees fan, but we're not going to talk about
Y'all want
baseball.
Shohei Ohtani?
I just want to win.
You just want to win?
Okay? I just want an ROI. You know what I mean?
You know what? I can't even have this conversation with you because I don't watch baseball. So, like, I don't even know how to respond to it. I'm like, all right, what is the solution then? Because it is the Yankees. They pay. What is the problem?
Pay very well.
But I don't even know.
I know who the problem is, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus.
Judge?
No. It's Aaron Boone. Boone got to go.
What does he do?
Jesus, Brandon. I can't have this I can't have these conversations.
Boone, is he a player?
He's our GM. Like, he's our
president?
I don't know how do I do this in base? He's not a coach, but like as our GM, our manager.
He's that bad?
Aaron Boone. I'm not gonna call him.
Why can't you say it?
Because I really want to like go in on him, but I can't.
But you can.
I can't.
Why?
Because I don't have nice things to say about him.
That's what the people want to hear.
He's trash.
He's
trash. I don't know how else to say it. He's trash, and he should have been gone years ago.
Dang.
Anyway, now that I'm all riled up, it wasn't all bad in Vegas though, or it's not bad in Vegas anyway. The Sphere has landed and it's out of this world. Look at the Sphere.
Beautiful. I was just there.
You were at the Sphere?
Yeah, I mean, I freaking flew over there like 3 hours ago. My plane was delayed till 2:30.
Is that because you were hanging out in the Sphere?
No, I didn't hang out in the Sphere. Actually, Saturday night is when they opened it. YouTube played, right? And I was actually at the fight, so I didn't have an opportunity to go there.
Listen, the MSG Sphere opened on Saturday night. The $2.3 billion MSG Sphere opened for the first time with a U2 concert. Inside, over 160,000 speakers, 18K wraparound LED screen, and the largest and highest resolution LED screen in the world. Now, this is a brainchild of MSG, obviously the same company that owns Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks, James Dolan, that whole family. This is crazy.
They're rich.
We have the video. Do we have the video of the inside?
They're rich.
The video, look at this. Now, check this out. I find this absolutely insane and also insanely terrifying. I am somebody who watches a lot of Black Mirror. And this just seems like a Black Mirror episode where we all go into this sphere. It has we're surrounded by like screens.
Right.
We're in this little space. We're getting brainwashed or I don't know. It gives me Black Mirror vibes. It's cool. I definitely want to check it out, but it also gives me I don't know.
Nervous.
It makes me a little.
You got to buy those glasses. You got to buy those glasses they block all of the conspiracy right? So you go in when
Those are Deion Sanders glasses?
It could be Deion's, but you love Beyonce.
I do. If Beyonce was there, I'd be there.
Exactly. Now you just got to put on the glasses so you can protect
We
yourself.
had the other video as well where they changed it to like the beach or the mountains.
Inside the U2 concert?
I think we had that video look at this.
That's fire. I would do yoga in there.
Bro, you can't do yoga in there.
In the middle of the stage. Tell them turn the heat up to 100.
Jesus.
That would be dope. Can you see 100,000 people doing yoga in there?
It's so cool. It's also very, like I said, very terrifying. Like is anybody on the set watch Black Mirror?
I've seen it.
Does this not give you Black Mirror vibes? Okay, so I'm not alone. Like, Brandon, you don't watch Black Mirror, do you?
I've seen it a couple times, a couple episodes.
But you don't
but
watch
I'm not,
it, watch
I'm not,
it.
yeah.
Okay, I'm talking to people who watch it. They know exactly what I'm referring to.
Because every story is different, right?
Yes, but it's all about like the dystopian, like society and how technology will play a part in that, and like everything's technology based, and like this is very much up Black Mirror's alley. I would not be surprised if there's an episode in the next season that's like surrounded by this. But okay, very cool. Definitely, hopefully, Beyonce, if you do a concert there, sign your girl up. I will be there front and center. We are going to now head into the daily route where we are going to dive into some of the biggest football topics from the weekend. And Deion Sanders has a message for the haters, all right? So Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes faced off against Caleb Williams and the number 8 Trojans on Saturday. Now, while the Buffs had a much better performance in this matchup than they did versus Oregon, at one point they almost looked like they were staging a full-blown comeback. They would fall to USC 48-41. Now, after the game, Coach Deion had some words for those who don't wish him or his guys well. He said, quote, "If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're a flat-out hater." Check this out.
If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You're just a flat-out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's wrong with you.
Over the next several months.
All right, Brandon. Go ahead. Listen.
No, I agree with Deion, but at the end of the day, it's about what have you done for me lately, and you start talking about this 2 weeks ago. We had this debate. So, like, long term, obviously there's something huge happening in Colorado. It's happened, and it's going to continue to happen. Colorado. But as far as now, like, you know, the average college football fan, they don't care about that. They're watching what is Oregon going to do, what is USC going to do, the Georgias of the world, the Alabamas of the world. I don't even know who's number 1 in college football now. That's so crazy, Ashley, because you know I don't watch college football like that. I've been watching, but I only watch Colorado. I woke up early in Vegas to watch them. I think they came on at 10 a.m. on Saturday out there. Everybody that was at the fight, everybody, like all the legends, they all was in Colorado that morning and flew over to the fight. This how big of a deal. This is when you talk about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffs. Like the whole culture is following them, but I think their success, their big success, is going to come maybe next year or definitely the year after that. Takes time. Takes time.
I want to say, is it Georgia? Yeah, Georgia's number 1.
Georgia's number 1 right now?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, I don't watch any other college football. How do you feel about what Deion said? You know, do you think?
So I actually had this conversation with a few people, and it's interesting because I had this conversation with athletes. I say other athletes like I'm an athlete. I had this conversation with a few athletes, and it was kind of like down the middle. Some people were very much like, listen, I'm riding with Deion, right, wrong, indifferent. He can't do no wrong. It's bigger than him. You know, it's about the culture. It's about moving the culture forward. It's about giving, you know, black head coaches opportunities to go ahead and be in the position that white head coaches have always been in, the collegiate level and the professional level. So they were looking at the bigger picture. And then there were people that I was having the conversation with that were more along the lines of, I like Deion, but you can't do a lot of this if you're not producing wins. And you're not beating the USCs. You're not beating the Oregons. You're beating Colorado State.
Right.
You're beating TCU, who a lot of people say are ranked, but they shouldn't have even been in the college playoffs last season.
Yeah.
So you're beating guys, you're beating teams that, yeah, is it impressive for a program that was 1-11 last season to now have 3-4 wins under their belt? Sure.
Yeah.
But you're not beating the big dogs. So the swagger and the vibes and, you know, all of that was cool the first few weeks when it was new, when it was, and this is when we were having this conversation here. I said, eventually that starts to fizzle out. You know, the watches and the glasses and the swag and Wheezy walking you out and all that, that starts to fizzle out when the wins and the production starts to falter.
Right,
you know, you can only hold on to the drapings for so long until people start looking at you like, all right, y'all have the swag, but where are the wins? And I think it's an interesting place where they are right now, because I don't think anybody expected them to beat USC. I don't think anybody expected them to beat Oregon. Would it have been crazy? For sure. But I don't think that was the expectation. I think everybody had them losing both or at least one of those games. But it is going to be interesting what they do now. They are going on to play Arizona. They have a chance to win that. Arizona's not where they should be or what they were once upon a time. If they lose again, people are going to start looking at it like,
well, I think Deion's only challenge is controlling the narrative because of who he is and how he's always been. You know, super confident. You know, some people say he straddles that fence between confident and arrogant.
I don't find him arrogant at all.
Yeah, so I think his only challenge is controlling the narrative, because football, there's so many ebbs and flows to football, and it doesn't matter who you are, right? Like, you know, obviously the great teams, a really, really great team, sustain success over an extended period of time, like the Alabamas of the world, but it really is just them. If you look at college football, the landscape over the last 10 years, you've had Alabama there for the most part. Now I would say they're trying to find their way. They're kind of in a valley a little bit. Clemson had some really good years. Georgia's been dominating the last 3 years, right? So there's ebbs and flows to it. And the reason why I say that's his challenge is controlling the narrative, because when you come out high the first 2 games, right, and the message is the message, and the standard is the standard, but then when you go through a lull, you go through a valley, what are you telling the media? What are you telling your teams? How do you keep people, how do you help people stay at that level of expectancy? Because Deion, this is easy for him. This is why he is, you know, a top 5, hell, he might be a top 5 NFL player of all time, right? But definitely top 5 defensive player of all time, and maybe the best corner to ever do it. And then also his success in the booth, his success, you know, now in ball before he even got to the college level, is because he has this expectancy. He has this confidence. Now, how do you get that through everybody else on your team? Because what I saw in that first half, and I was taking down my notes, what I saw and what I wrote down was, oh, the moment is too big for a couple of these guys. And there's just body language that you could pay attention to.
But they bridged the gap, though. They were right there.
They did, but that's why I said the first half.
Oh, okay.
The first half, the guys like drop balls, a simple pitch and catch. Like, this is just routes on air is what we call it. There's no defenders out there. Quarterback take a 3-step drop, wide receiver 5-step hitch, catch, first down. Those routine plays were too big for them in the first half, right? And so that was the first time I saw a disconnect between Deion and his team, his players, because Deion's still here. His confidence is never going to get. His confidence is always going to be here, even when he's rattled a little bit, shaking. You would never know it, but his players, you can see it in some of them, their performance in the first half, and then the second half. I don't know how the hell they turned it around, but that was phenomenal.
I think there's multiple things here. I think people are offended by Deion's confidence, that some deem arrogance, cockiness. I think that, is he a little bit, his arrogance, his confidence doesn't strike me as cockiness, because I feel like cockiness has a little bit more of a underlining negativity behind it. I think Deion's confidence is, I don't want to say it's soft-spoken. It's not offensive, if that's the word I'm looking for. It's not offensive. Like, there are some people who are cocky and it's offensive cocky. Like, Deion's cockiness, if that's what you want to call it, is not offensive. So I think that for a lot of people, including myself, it doesn't rub me the way that maybe it rubs some other people who finds it offensive. So I can't speak to that. I think that the team has to continue to win. These 2 games are going to be always going to be circles on the calendar of really, really tough games. These are 2 top 10 teams in the top 25. They have to continue to win, but even if it's not a winning record that they walk away with this season, they're still winning more than they won last year.
No, but they got to win. They got to have a winning record, and they have the type of team and coaching in a situation to have a winning record. Like you said, nobody expected them to beat USC. Nobody expected him to beat Oregon, but we do expect them to beat CU or Colorado. We do expect them to beat Arizona 100%. Those are the games that you have those type of trap games. You have those type of trap games. But, so that could potentially come up. But that's when the chatter is really going to start. When you start losing games to teams like that, that's the problem.
I mean,
and I don't see that happening this year.
You have Arizona State, you have UCLA, you have Arizona.
Yeah, all winnable.
All winnable. You have Oregon State, which is ranked. You have Washington State, which are ranked.
Yep.
You have Stanford. You have Utah. I mean, truthfully, you only have 3 more ranked programs that you have to go ahead and play. The other schools, like I said, Arizona State, UCLA, Arizona, Stanford, none of those schools are ranked, so they're winnable. I just don't know if people are expecting a miracle from Deion, and I think that in part it's because they themselves have set the bar so high for themselves, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that if you don't set the standard for how you play or what you want to produce high, then you're setting yourself up for failure. I don't think there's anything wrong with him setting the bar high for his guys, for the program, for what he's doing. But
he's
I also
counterculture. Deion is counterculture to pro sports and ball. Every day when you walk into the building, you walk into the locker room, the number one thing is, well, first check your ego at the door. All right, we're all fighting for one thing. So check your ego, 1. 2, eliminate distractions, right? So think about what Bill Belichick has said for over 20-something years. No bulletin board material. Deion will go out there and give you bulletin board material because he feels that he will back it up and his team will back it up. And a lot of it is what you're saying is like he's teaching them the standard. The standard is, no, we're not only going to win at a high level, but we're going to do it in high fashion as well. We're going to have fun with it. But Deion is counterculture to what football was at one point because it is changing a little bit. But coaches, they don't go out there and say that.
I hear that. My confusion is, how is what Deion has presented this program to be, the culture of this program, the standard in which that he's trying to instill in this program in his guys, how has that turned into Deion Sanders needs to win it all or he's a failure?
Oh, yeah.
When did he say he was going to the national championship?
Right.
Like, I think people are putting too much weight in the confidence that he's instilling in his guys, the revamping of this program, the star power that's behind this program, all the eyes that are on Deion and Buffalo, and are saying, oh, they have to win a national championship.
But Deion is saying it, though.
He never said he was going to win the whole thing.
He never said the whole thing, but when we start talking about Oregon and USC, he wasn't saying what most coaches would say, right? In this situation, look, here's where we're at. It's my first year here, our first year. Of course, we're going to go out there and compete at a high level, and there's going to be opportunities for us to win the game. Deion ain't coming out there with that type of energy. Deion's coming out with the energy right now. Like, no, we're going to win right now.
We
coming right now. So I'm saying he's saying it without saying it. Even what he just said, if you listen to him, he said, anybody who doesn't see what's happening around this program are just flat out haters. And then his follow-up to that was like, over the next couple of months. Like I'm looking at Deion like they should have a great year. All these games coming up on their schedule are all winnable games, right? So they could potentially only have 2 losses if they can protect that guy right there, number 2. But for me, the wins are coming next year and the year after that because he still have time. You're gonna have to go replace your son eventually, and you got to go get some offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Skill players is not what Deion is gonna miss on. But how do you get those big guys that can block them up and protect your quarterback and then also can stop the run? You can't be getting gashed like that.
Before the Oregon game, what did people want from Deion to say, yeah, we're going to try our best. They're better than us. But no, that's not who Deion is. He's always had this confidence. He's always had this swagger about him. He's not going to go ahead and give his competition props more than they already have and say, yeah, you know, they're better than us. We're going to try our best. No, we're going to go out there. We're going to beat them. Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
Probably not. Oregon was better than them, but he is being who he's always been. So I don't really understand what people expect from him and why him continuing with who he has always been is him being, you know, putting the carriage before the horse.
Yeah.
No, this is how he's always led his career as a coach, as a player. This is who he is.
Listen, you're right. You take on the personality of your leader. So every day, whatever he is showing them, whatever he is feeding them, hopefully that's what they become, right? But again, something to pay attention to. And you know these like routine plays in all the sports, like, oh, that's easy. That's muscle memory. In that first half, there was a couple plays where it's like, yo, this moment may be too big. The pressure that everybody knows watching. That's the difference between good and great, especially on the field. When you know those gotta have it moments, the lights are on, and you know you're getting the ball. Everybody in the stadium knows that you're getting the ball. Do you come down with it? Do you make the play? That first half they did. In the second half they turned it on. So hopefully, if they get that, then it's over for college football. It's over. That confidence is everything. But it has to trickle down from Deion to the players. If they want to win against the USCs, they want to win against the Oregons, they have to have it. You see it all the time. Like, even the last thing I'll say to this is, you know, like we're watching the Jets last night against the Chiefs. Those type of teams, the Jets, unfortunately, that's missed the playoffs 12 years in a row, they find a way to lose the game. Bill Belichick, that's his classic saying internally. Oh, they'll fuck it up. That's what he says. Just play your game. They'll fuck it up, right? So excuse my language, I know that was tough, but that's what he says. Those teams, if you want the Colorado Buffs, if you want to beat the USCs who's just now getting back to where they were for years, and the Oregons, the teams that are good right now, the Georgias, the Alabamas, you can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. So.
Well, listen, you mentioned pressure, but listen, Colorado will face Arizona State Saturday, 6:30 p.m., so make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. But you mentioned pressure, and there is a rumble in the jungle.
Rumble in the jungle.
Can you try to guess who I'm referring to?
A big fight coming up?
No.
Rumble, what sport?
It's football.
Rumble in the jungle. Rumble in the jungle. The Jaguars, they won this weekend.
No, Rumble
the Jaguars.
in the jungle.
All right, Rumble in the jungle. So they got the Jaguars. Boom, Rumble in the jungle.
Jungle. What team am I referring to?
Bengals.
There you go.
Okay.
It's been another disappointing week of football if you are a Cincinnati Bengals fan, as the team fell to 1-4 yesterday after their 27-3 loss versus the Tennessee Titans. Now, Joe Burrow, who missed 6 weeks of training camp due to a calf injury, has not looked like himself since the start of the season. He completed 20 of 30 passes for 165 yards. But the real story here is that Jamar Chase was visibly and verbally frustrated after the loss, saying, "I'm open. I'm always effing open." Check this out.
I'm open. I'm always fucking open. Excuse my profanity. I'm sorry.
Is that a meme? I can see that. Yo, I love that. Can we run that again? Look at yo, just look at how cool he.
I'm always fucking open. Excuse my profanity. I'm sorry.
I love that, Ash. I'm open. I'm always fucking open. Wasn't that cool? I love that.
The Bengals, correction, I said 1-4. They fell to 1-3 after yesterday's loss. So sorry about that. But Jamar Chase was visibly frustrated, as we just heard. But on the other side of the spectrum, running back Joe Mixon spoke to the media, and he had a little bit more of an optimistic standpoint. He said, you know what? He said, you know who we got at quarterback, at receiver, in the backfield? Why would I be concerned? Check this out.
1-3. I know you guys have had stretches in the past where you haven't played well. Yeah. This one feels a little bit different. It looks a little bit different the way you're playing. How much concern is there in the room?
I mean, I don't have concern. Y'all might, but I don't. I mean, I know what we're capable of. I know what type of team we is, and we just got to stay together, keep going forward, and getting better. That's all it comes down to it.
Joe, how surprised are you that the execution, Joe kept mentioning execution in his press conference. Why isn't the execution there on a consistent basis?
Yeah, I mean, we won away. I mean, it's either one play away, one block away, one catch away, and it's all there, man. Plays is there to be made, and you know, we just got to get better as a whole, you know, as a whole unit, top down, and that's just what it is.
Do you feel like even in a 27-3 loss, do you feel like the offense is close in any way, or do you feel like you're a long way from where you are?
I just feel like we got to get better. That's all. That's all I really know. We just got to get better, and I know we will. I know what type of offense we is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what type of offense we is, and that's just what it is. But when it comes down to it, execution, you know, getting better and one play at a time, we just got to do whatever we can to, you know, get better.
To follow up, Joe, you said you're not concerned. Why aren't you concerned?
Why would I be?
Is it because of the offense you know this room can have?
Yeah, you know who we got at quarterback, at receivers, in the backfield. Like, why would I be concerned?
At 1-3, how much urgency is there now in the room to look? A lot of people are pointing to Joe, and you understand the expectations of this team, what this season can be.
Yeah.
How much concern is not the right word, as you told me. How much urgency now is there in this room?
Yeah, man, we gotta go. That's just, you know, all it come down to it. And like I said, we gotta just continue to get better and keep building top down, man. And I feel like as a whole unit, everybody just gotta stay together. We've yet to put together a whole football game, complementary football with the offense, defense, and special teams. Everybody play a part in it, man. And you know, we just got to go watch the film, come tomorrow, and get ready for, I believe, Arizona next Sunday. So I know we'll be ready. I know we'll respond. And we just, like I said, man, we just got to get better.
Okay, so Mixon had 67 yards on 14 carries, averaging almost 5 yards per carry. Obviously, a very different sentiment than we got from Jamar Chase.
Right.
Brandon, I mean, a tale of two stories here. I mean, what do you...
Yeah, two different stories. They're talking about two different things. When you think about Jamar Chase is saying, look, we're struggling, and it's not the defense's fault. The defense, look how they played last week. The defense, I'm talking about the week before their win. The defense stood up. The defense is more than capable of winning them games. So what's the problem? It's us on the offensive side, which Joe Mixon highlight, which is why he's not worried. Look who we have at the running back position. Who's our quarterback? Who's our wide receivers? And everything starts with Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase is saying, if we're struggling on offense, why don't y'all get me going?
Right.
So that's what you hear him saying. And then when you think about Mixon, I love what Mixon, you know, what he's saying and how he's taking accountability, but he's also staying confident, right? That's what really good teams and really good players do. But the reporter said is like, this feels different. We can't deny that. Like, this feels different. When have we ever seen a Tom Brady team, like we're going back to the Patriots, 20 years in a row, Tom Brady, even Peyton Manning's of the world, even Aaron Rodgers leading up to like 2 years ago, they don't struggle like this. They don't. You don't go out there. Last year they started off 0-2, then they found a rhythm. They were able to turn it around. This year they're sitting at 1-3, and we're talking about the first game of the season. He didn't throw for over 100 yards. What is going on there? We're talking about a guy throwing for 150. Joe Burrow do that in his sleep. So you want to believe that they can fix it because these are correctable things, and it is Joe Burrow, and they got all those weapons. But you got to be concerned. You got to be concerned, but there is time.
Joe
There's
Burrow's
still a lot
not
of time.
healthy, though. I mean, we had
Nobody's healthy in the NFL right now.
We had this conversation when Joe Burrow came back, you know, the week before the season started. He got like the last bit of the preseason in, and everybody was surprised he was even there. His own teammates were even surprised he was there. We spoke about that on this very show, and I even said that if I were the Bengals, sometimes you have to save a player from themselves.
Right.
Start him a week or two after the season. Don't
Could've been a
aggravate the
mistake.
calf injury before. Don't re-aggravate something that's not 100% healed yet before you have to. They could have afforded to been without him for a game or two. They had A.J. McCarron that they signed that Saturday. A.J. McCarron, decent enough with all of those weapons that you could have secured a couple of wins under your belt.
Well,
But now you have Joe Burrow on a bum calf. He clearly
but this
is not
is the
playing
situation
well.
though. But this is the beautiful thing about sports, and I do agree with you. Sometimes you got to save. A lot of times you got to save the player from
by
himself.
now if he would have sat out.
But look, you're talking about a loaded AFC, and you're talking about a loaded division. They can't afford. This is not like, you know, baseball. They got 80 games. Basketball got 80 games. We're talking about 17 games. Every one counts. So
18
like,
now.
It's 18 now. Sorry. Yep, you're right. Joe Burrow's sitting there saying, damn, I just signed the biggest deal in the history of the NFL. For the past 2-3 years, we've been considered contenders. We got to go get it done. I can't fall 0-2. I can't give it to A.J. McCarron and we're 0-3. So
now they're 1-3. I mean, congrats.
But that's sports. That's sports.
But what I'm saying is like, you're 1-3 with Joe Burrow on a bum calf right now.
But you didn't go into this decision thinking like, oh, we're going to be sitting here at 1-3.
What I'm saying is that you knew he wasn't 100% healthy when he started week 1. My ideology is like, you have A.J. McCarron start week 1, week 2. You get a healthy Joe Burrow back for the remaining 16 weeks.
Yeah.
You can make up that deficit. You can make up that deficit.
A lot of teams missed the playoffs about one game.
Now you're at 1-3, and that's us betting on the fact that A.J. McCarron would have lost those games. We don't know. He could have they could have went ahead and well, whatever. The Bengals as a whole, they could have won those games while he was out.
Take the Cincinnati Bengals out of the conversation.
Regardless.
If you're Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals, I would have, let me say this first, let's be clear. I would have leaned to the side of precaution like you. I would have said 1 or 2 games. It is what it is. Well, let's see what happens. But let's see the other side. Joe Burrow sitting here after signing this massive deal. Take his team out of it. The Cleveland Browns, what the hell is the Cleveland Browns going to do? Is Deshaun finally going to knock the rust off? Could they go on a crazy run?
Well,
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He didn't play,
look, we're not really afraid of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Mike Tomlin always finds a way. He always finds a way, and they're in the division. And you got the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. He was just the MVP just a couple years ago, and he just signed a big deal. And now they got a new offense that's saying, go do you, Lamar. So you can't see why Joe Burrow and some people in the Cincinnati Bengals organization, like, we can't give it to A.J. McCarron.
I see it, but I also, now you're in a situation, you're 1-3. You have a quarterback.
That's right.
Who is already playing on a bum calf, who's probably re-aggravated it. It's worse than it was after the 6 weeks of him not playing on it. What kind of longevity does he have now as the leader of this football team? Do you think that his calf's miraculously just going to get better and he's miraculously going to start playing better? You're now in a worse situation than I believe you would have been in had you gone ahead and gambled and rolled the dice on him missing the first 2 weeks of the season. I feel like you're in a worse situation now.
But no, hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Last point on this.
No, I'm just saying, like, everybody in the NFL right now is dealing with something or banged up. And that didn't start after week 1. That started as soon as you walked into camp. And you probably walked into camp dealing with something. The great players find a way to get the job done and play at a high level when they're dealing with something. And that's in all sports. It's inevitable. So with him, Aaron Rodgers has this thinking, this thought process that if I could just come back, my team can get me in the playoffs, I'll be in position to go out there. Why? Because he's like, yo, I might not be able to do everything, but this arm and this mind is going to put us in position. So it's about playing in compensation. There's a great book out there called Relentless by Tim Grover. Tim Grover, he talks about training Michael Jordan, training Kobe Bryant, D Wade, et cetera, et cetera. D Wade, when they were in the finals, they won with LeBron. He unpacks this. He unpacks this in his book, and it highlight like how players got to play, dealing with injuries. D Wade, they were about to shut D Wade down in the finals. His knee totally gone. Flew him out to Chicago for 4 or 5 days, and all they worked on was, well, you can't do this, but you can do this. How do we work in compensation? D Wade came back, played extremely well. They ended up winning, and nobody even knew the story of him going to Chicago, about to shut it down, but Tim Grover came in. I'm saying all it to say this. Okay, Joe Burrow, your calf hurts. Your shoulder don't, your mind don't, right? And then the offensive coordinator, if he can't scramble out to the right, if he can't do a keeper to the right, keeper to the left, keep him in the pocket. Go in shotgun. He got an arm, deadly. Run the ball. So every player knows how to play. Great players figure out how to play when they're injured or they're into compensation.
Well, we shall see what goes down in the jungle some more, but we're going to keep it in the animal kingdom because lions and tigers, but no to this bear. Bears, you like how I did that?
That was good.
Like how I did that? Okay. Bears head coach Matt Eberflus said that wide receiver Chase Claypool made the decision to not come to yesterday's game and stay away from the team. However, a Bears spokesperson later clarified that statement and confirmed that it was the team that asked him to stay home from the game. Now, this comes just weeks removed from Fox Sports' Jay Glazer's report that the Bears reportedly told Claypool if he continues to show a lack of effort, not only would he be made a healthy and active, but he might be, quote, shipped out. So, Brandon, we go from that report. Weeks later, the team asked him to stay home from yesterday's game. The Bears ended up losing a 27-point lead to the Denver Broncos to lose that game. The Broncos obviously win that. Being asked to stay home is not good.
Yeah, this is such a small part of their problems. Look, disgruntled player, organization, and I don't even want to use disgruntled player. I hate that when we sit back and we see a player unhappy and we say malcontent, disgruntled. No, it's can you handle, you got to be really savvy in the media and what you say and what you don't say, okay? But at the end of the day, like, he may not be wrong with what he's saying. As far as they're not putting him in position. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm always going to lead towards the side of the player. I'm going to hold the player accountable. But when I look at Chase Claypool, how many targets does he have this year? Just a jump ball or a back shoulder. How many slants been thrown to him? And I say that because that's his game. That's what I want. I don't want him doing all these other things. This dude is a freak. And the same conversation that we had last week, and we got into it a little bit about Justin Fields. Justin Fields looked phenomenal. So Justin Fields go out there. He looked phenomenal. Looked phenomenal. Oh my goodness! Look at Ashley. He looked phenomenal. He goes out there. He goes out there. Not bashes. He says it's coaching, right? So now they got to make some adjustments. They finally get out of his head, let him play, and look what they did. He ran it up. Last play, he did throw a pick on the end cut. It's like 20 seconds left in the game, whatever it was. So sometimes these players are right. That's why I like this Claypool thing. That's not even the problem. What about this coach? The coach, you see what he did, the decision he made? Did you see the decision he made yesterday?
The coach is terrible. Him and Staley can go.
They're winning the game.
They should go on vacation together.
Ashley, I think they were up. What was the situation? They're backed up. He goes for it on fourth. He goes for it instead of kicking the field goal. Like, what are you doing? And then they pan to the skybox where the general manager and the president, everybody was sitting there. And everybody, Chicago Bears, they doing this. They went from cheering because they was moving the ball. And then all of a sudden he goes for it on fourth down instead of taking the points. And everybody in the booth like this shaking their head.
He's a terrible.
He's going to be out of there. Where do they find this guy?
I mean, do you think Claypool's trying to get himself out of Chicago? Do you think that's the play at hand here?
All right, yes. I mean, if I'm him, I would. I mean, if they don't want to put him in position, why waste time? Like, you know,
but do you think then that it's like a catch-22 because you try to force your way out of a situation, right? By doing that, you're not playing, there's a lot of negative connotations around, you know, you as a player.
That's right.
So if you are trying to leave, the bad taste in everyone's mouth is what the story is being told about you in that regard. So is that the right play at hand?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Pro sports is the most toxic environment that you can operate in every single day. It's tough, right? You got to operate at an extremely high level every single day. That's what's required of you. You can't have one day off, or you're going to be held accountable. You're going to be called out, and potentially even cut. So I say that because everyone knows you're right. Yeah, you got to handle certain situations differently in the media and how you present yourself. But what the rest of the teams feel, or what they're looking at is, can we be the team to get this guy in? Can he get us going? Can we get him going, right? So yes, he needs to do his best to keep his face clean. But look, everybody knows the situation. Like, sometimes people are unhappy. Claypool, there's some things that he can do better on. You described those over the last couple of weeks, you know, effort in the run game, et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, the team got to do a better job of utilizing him. They got to utilize all their pieces. They got to utilize Justin Fields better. So hopefully he's in a better situation here in the next couple of weeks. I think the trade deadline's at the end of October, I believe. So, I mean,
we will go ahead and see what continues to go down with the Bears, but we're going to switch gears a little bit. Chandler Jones is released by the Las Vegas Raiders. They have parted ways with the pass rusher. Now, it was a highly tumultuous September between the DE and the Raiders. Jones, who has been away from the team since Labor Day, was arrested after allegedly violating a domestic violence temporary protective order. Now, Jones posted last Monday that he was taken to a hospital against his will and later transferred to a behavioral health facility. We spoke about that here on this show. Now, today does start Mental Health Awareness Week. So, Brandon, we had that conversation here on this show that, you know, there obviously has to be underlining things going on as multiple sides to a story. Now, in the days that followed him being released from that behavioral health facility, he lashed out several times on social media, including denying claims that Aaron Hernandez died by suicide in jail. And because that was such a big topic on social media, Brandon, the I Am Athlete episode with you and Cam Newton and the guys actually was trending over the week, and people were rehashing those conversations. So we will play that clip, and then I will give you the floor to respond to what was said. So we can go ahead and roll that.
The day before he allegedly committed suicide, we just had a conversation.
Before what? Hold on, when?
Before he
He
allegedly committed suicide, we just talked. He's in great spirits, like we chopping it up. He was, yeah, big dog. You know, I'm here, man. You know, my family, this and that. Everything is good. So when they said he committed suicide, I'm sitting here like, I just talked to him last night.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
He ain't even mentally built like that. He wired different. You know it wasn't no suicide.
So we all got different Chico stories.
100%.
Like I was with Chico, like we was in the same recruiting class. So I seen the younger him. And one thing that I'll say about him, how he's being portrayed as this villain, that's not him. That's not him.
We talked about
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. What in all respects of what happened, the person that I know.
Yeah. Like just from your experience.
And everybody from Florida at that particular point in time called him Chico. It wasn't even calling him Aaron. Like, no, bro, Chico. You talking about Chico? Yeah. Chico from Connecticut. Like, yeah. Like, he was a loyal, funny, goofy dude, bro. Like, so much so that he spent Thanksgiving with me and my family. Like that. So don't get like the bashing of who he is and what he was done. That's understandable. We live in a day and time that's what it is.
And that's the part that I dislike, is because he's not here to defend himself.
Yeah.
So everything that's come up, I dismiss it, because that's not the Chico or the Aaron that I had grown to know from the night coming to the crib, to playing the game, you know, following up on the guys, to being a teammate, to being a teammate with him in New England. You know, my first year, 2009, 2010, when he came in, Grunt came in, Jules came in, like all these guys was, you know, right under my arms, and it was still the same, like all of us, just brothers in the locker room. None of that other funny, great that they're trying to say or portray.
But bro, like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like I don't know your experience because you start diving into it. Like you know him.
Yeah, I remember I was there the whole year with them.
So what was your experience like before I give my thoughts?
Cool as hell. Cool dude. Went out with him a couple times, not out, but you know, to eat, chat. I had to pay for that jersey number, stuff like that. Yeah.
How much you gave him?
Man, touch your nose, man.
How much you gave?
So Brandon, a lot to dissect there. You know, it was being broken down on social media over the weekend with this news. Some people, you know, were agreeing. Some people said that, you know, Cam and some of the things that were being said aged poorly with, you know, things that have come out since then regarding.
No, those things were out then.
No, but there's been other things. There have been like other documentaries that have come out and stuff like that. So, I mean, the floor is yours to kind of clear the air on, what, the message was that everyone was trying to get across
Right.
and, things like that.
So yesterday started Mental Health Awareness Week. 2011, y'all heard my story. I was like, damn, this is why I play ball now, right? I'm gonna use this platform to really push to this purpose. The number one thing, or the number one challenge during that time and still to this day, is the stigma, right? And a lot of the stigma is created through the narrative, the stories that we tell. So even our conversation that we just had on I Am Athlete, you have 5 guys sitting there that knows Aaron Hernandez in some capacity, right, with different perspectives. And when it comes to mental health, I just feel like we need to shut up and we just need to sit back and let the professionals kind of weed through it. We need to lead with curiosity and empathy or sympathy, right? Like that's what we need to focus on, not going, well, this and that, like giving these hard opinion because you don't know. Even what Fred Taylor just said, well, yesterday he was great. And then all of a sudden the next day he committed suicide. That's majority of the cases. We don't know. That's how we look at it every single time. It's like, how could he do that to himself? We don't know. So Fred speaking, telling his truth and his side of the story, I can understand why it was so difficult for him to understand that, but that's creating that false narrative and playing into the stigma even more. And even Chandler Jones, like that's why this thing start trending again, like you said. But Chandler Jones, a lot of people are out there looking at him like breaking down and seeing what's going on and doing some weird things. He's dealing with psychosis. So that's exactly it. And then now we say football is family, and this is why I always got in a lot of trouble. I will continue to get in a lot of trouble here, but football is family. If that's your family, do you cut them, release them? What do you do if your family's dealing with psychosis? Like, this is real.
Right.
What do you do? Like, I think this is and I want to be very careful here because I do maintain relationships with the league office, Commissioner Cadell and everybody else there, and, other people that's on the mental health task force in the NFL. But I think this is a moment where we can really lean in and learn a little bit more. We've been having these conversations for a very long time. There's a lot of strides we've made. There's a lot of amazing programs in the NFL, but I don't like this. I don't like that Chandler Jones is having a tough time right now, and we know that it's mental health, but then we release him. You don't do family like that. So don't tell me football is family when this is how you treat family.
Do you think it's also irresponsible for his peers, whether current players, former players, he went on the Instagram live or he just posted a video out on his social media, where he was breaking down saying that Aaron Hernandez didn't kill himself in jail, and you've now had people come out, since that video and things come up, like the I Am Athlete episode where it's being rehashed and they're saying, yeah, Chandler Jones is right, it's a conspiracy. Do you think that's helpful or hurtful? Like, regardless of what
Right.
it is that you believe, do you feel like people backing him and what he's saying is hurtful to what the greater issue is of what's going on with him, possibly going on with
It's
him?
hurtful and it's a distraction. And that's what usually happens in situations like this. Instead of us sitting here with curiosity, watching these videos and trying to learn from, like, what is this? Before I go out and tweet something, before I go out and give my opinion, this dude's crazy, the Raiders this, the NFL's that. Well, instead of us sitting back with curiosity, we're now talking about Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez has been gone for how long? Aaron Hernandez's story is not even a thing, right? We should be talking about psychosis and what is that? We should be talking about suicide ideation. We should be talking about, like, those things, but we're not. So absolutely, Ashley, it hurts, this situation, and it's a distraction.
Like we said, it is Mental Health Awareness Week. So I think that we will take time out of each show this week to just highlight mental health and different resources that you can go ahead and access if you or anyone you know is struggling with your mental health. Brandon, do you have one off the top of your head that you want to highlight for today?
Tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll start that tomorrow then.
The reason why, because I was reading something.
fine.
What did you say?
Do you have? I said, do you have any mental health, sites or things
okay,
that
I'm
you
sorry.
want to highlight today that people can go ahead
Right.
and access if they're struggling or someone they know is struggling with their mental health?
Yeah, I think Nomni is always a great one, and that's trusted. McLean Hospital has a lot of amazing information there, and I think we just need to search. But there's a way of searching, right? Like, because the internet is scary, Google is scary, YouTube is scary, because there's a lot of terrible information out there. So I just think you need to lean on the experts. So Nomni's great. BetterHelp is a great one for someone who may need therapy now. It's virtual. You can just tap in there. Over thousands of therapists there. But the biggest thing is, because we are going to search, that's the world we live in, Google and YouTube. When you're going down that rabbit hole, just know that there's more bad than good, okay? So it's more bad than good, so be careful. I like that it's thought-provoking, we're curious, we're trying to seek help, we're trying to get information, but make sure that it's a credible source.
All right, well, we are going to dive into some happier topics from the NFL world. Well, not happy if you're a New England Patriots fan, because Mac Jones met the bench last night. During the third quarter of the Patriots' blowout loss to the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, Bill Belichick benched quarterback Mac Jones. Jones gave up 2 touchdowns to the Dallas defense with a fumble and a pick 6. He also threw another pick on 4th down. Billy Zapp would enter the game as QB1. The Cowboys would go on to beat the Patriots, I believe, 31-6.
Easy money.
Yeah, easy money. So we have the video of when Bill Belichick got frustrated enough to bench Mac Jones. Here it is. He looked like a disappointed dad. He didn't even look him in the eye. He just said, "You out," shaking my head. I mean, Brandon, this is a big deal. Mac Jones, draft pick, gets benched.
Yeah, I mean, that was Bill Belichick's biggest defeat ever in his 20-something year.
In his career, yes.
It's so sad seeing, well, I guess for some, so sad seeing Bill Belichick just struggle this way, and it has a lot to do with their offensive side and
Final
their quarterback.
score was 38-3.
38-3, unbelievable. There was the one video where he like shaking his head. You never really see Bill Belichick like in that type of emotion during a game. Like he threw a pick across his body. I think it was that one. It's like an absolute no-no in ball at the quarterback position. Yeah, Mac Jones, his days are numbered in New England.
Listen, I was going to ask you because I've caught a lot of slack. Christy O, as you know, is a New England Patriots fan, and she said that I've been too hard on Mac Jones, but I have said time and time again, I do not believe Mac Jones is a franchise quarterback.
Right.
I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I don't know how much more we need to see or not see from him to come to that cohesive decision. I feel like yesterday, for anybody who was holding on to a thread that he can turn it around, I would hope was the deciding factor. He is not the guy that's going to go ahead and lead this Patriots team for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, they were high on him, so they're the experts, Bill Belichick and their brass, to actually move up in the draft, I believe, because there was a lot of action in that draft, Trey Lance, et cetera, but I believe they moved up as well, and they got their guy. So they believed that he was. I gave him a little bit of grace going into this year because last year he had Matt Patricia and Coach Judge, defensive guy and a special teams coordinator lead in the offense. I'm sorry, that's terrible. I don't even know why Bill Belichick thought that was a smart thing to do, and this is supposed to be the smartest coach. So now I'm bringing in Billy O, who started off he started off somewhere else, but he had a lot of success in New England. He's the offensive coordinator that used to get at it with Tom Brady. He went on to the Texans. And so now that you got Billy O, right, like, all right, let's see what you have. And now we're a quarter of the way through the season, and you haven't really shown anything. So definitely numbered for sure, because there's no excuses. You got enough talent, and you have a coach where you shouldn't be making some of these mistakes.
Christy is correcting me. She said, I never said he was a franchise player. I just said he's not a dirty player. Okay, fair point. I think that I think that the Patriots are in an interesting situation right now because I really don't know what they can do at this point, at least right now in the immediate time frame about the quarterback position. I feel like you're kind of stuck with Mac Jones right now. I don't even know of any quarterbacks floating around that would even be worth moving any pieces for, unless it's a guy who's probably at home right now. But they gotta, if they want to go ahead and return to even a fraction of what they used to be, they gotta go ahead and cut the cord. So we will see. Before we go ahead and do our Monday Night Football preview, just want to show Khalil Mack some love because he ate his Wheaties before the Chargers game against his former team, the Raiders. He had 6 sacks, Brandon.
The whole box.
He ate the whole box of Wheaties.
The supersized Wheaties. That's crazy. I was sitting in the sports book watching multiple games. And so I'm barely watching this game, right? Like, oh, I'm just looking. Josh McDaniels, did he mess it up again? They were fighting.
And he did.
Well, no, I think it was that young quarterback. They went with the rookie quarterback, O'Connor. He ended up throwing a damn pick in the red zone. They had it. They go sprint right option, and he throws it to the guy. So, look, I was watching this game, and I'm like, dang, he has – like actually, the guy sitting next to me, he's like, yo, Khalil Mack has 5 sacks. I'm like, what? Like, 5 sacks? That's a record. He's about to break the record. I said, oh. And then being able to see him break the record, that was pretty cool. That was a moment. I mean, he didn't have to throw the guy down. He just ran through the offensive line, just held him up. He didn't even throw him down to break the record. So that was a big record-breaking moment for Khalil Mack.
Well, listen, you get a sack and you get a sack.
6?
Like Oprah. 6. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Dang,
listen,
6?
Before we go ahead and close out today's show, the Seahawks will take on the Giants at MetLife Stadium tonight. Let's see if the Giants have better luck than the team that they share their stadium with. Can't relate. My team has a stadium that only belongs to them, but I digress. The 1-2 New Jersey Giants will face off against the 2-1 Seahawks at MetLife Stadium. Don't cough, Andrew. I said it correctly. Currently, Seattle is listed as a -1.5 favorite. The over/under is 47.5 points. The money line, the Seahawks -125. The Giants +100. The Seahawks are 2-1 against the spread this season, including 1-0 as a road team and 2-0 against conference opponents. The Giants are 0-3 against the spread this season, including 0-1 as a home team and 0-3 versus NFC opponents. Brandon, where are you leaning towards? Seahawks, Giants?
I'm leaning towards the Seahawks, and it's because that's where my mind is at. And I'm going to start giving disclaimers here. As you know, I love storylines, and I go with my gut. I go with the underdog story. And through the first few weeks of the NFL season, I've been hit or miss with it, missing more than making them. And so I'm going to give disclaimers when I start picking teams. Like, I'm going to let you guys know, right, because I'm a gambling man. I like to gamble, right? So with that, there's some pain. You got to be willing to endure it. But when I go with my mind, I think that I'll be more successful. So this one's my mind. Like the Seattle Seahawks, they're looking really good right now. They have been, they travel well. And they're the better team. There's no Saquon Barkley, right? They don't have. Can anybody tell me the guy on when it's 3rd and 3, game is on the line? Who are we going to? We know, gotta have it moment. Who are we throwing the ball to?
No one.
We don't
Jones
know.
is gonna rush it.
Exactly. We don't know. So I'm going with my mind here, right? My mind says, after downloading all the information, that the Seattle Seahawks will cover, so they'll win. And also, I'm taking the under on points. So that's my head, not my.
I wonder how long it takes them to switch the field over from the Jets to the Giants stuff.
Right.
I mean, when you have your own stadium, you don't have to do that, but in this case, they do. So I'm just curious, how does that work? Is it like a sheet? Do they gotta change the colors and the seats?
I think the biggest thing is the end zone.
Do they gotta change the names out of the locker room? Okay, this was Zach Wilson. We're gonna slide Daniel Jones in here now. How does that work?
No, so first off, outside, right? Digital boards, all those digital boards.
Obviously,
click of a button,
those are
switch,
easy
boom, boom, boom.
quicks. Yeah,
but there's other things that you got to switch out, so that takes time.
That must suck, huh?
But they have their own locker room.
Oh, they do have their own. That's nice, at least.
So they have their own. They have their own locker room. So Jets have theirs. Giants.
Is it the same?
Jets.
The Jets. Damn.
The Giants was nice too. The Giants was nice too, but I don't even remember like the Giants.
They share a stadium
I
and they
played for
got the
both
bootleg
teams.
locker room.
But the
Tragic.
biggest thing is the end zone, Ashley. Like that's the biggest thing because you got to pull up that turf and you got to lay the new team's logo down. But when you see the banners wrapped around the end zone going around where it says Jets or whatever, they just pull that off and put another teams up.
Can't relate. The star never leaves Arlington. You know what I'm saying? Listen, that does
Oh
the
my
show,
goodness.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining Paper Route, the Monday edition. We will go ahead and see you tomorrow. We'll do an NBA-based show. We have a lot of stuff from Media Day to dive into. We'll also cover what happened in Monday Night Football. But see ya.
Peace.
Bye. Yeah, the star stays in the center.